Okay, let's start that from the top.
Okay.
And with that, I am Kent.
I'm Matt, and this is the 72 Pins.
Yes, it is. And, yeah, so like we were saying before, we had to start all over because my audio is screwed up. This has been a big week in gaming.
Pretty big.
With Mass Effect 3, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and more games coming out on, what do they call it? The home party, the party at home, what is it on Xbox Live?
Oh, Summer Party?
No, it's not. House Party?
House Party, yeah.
The House Party. What is it this week on House Party?
I actually don't know.
Oh my god. Oh, and we got, trailers for Assassin's Creed 3 came out. I mean, it was pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed 3 trailer, more FemShep trailers.
That was really cool that they did that. They didn't have to. I didn't expect them to, but the fact that they did.
I didn't expect them to do that either, especially, since it's all CG and stuff. But
yeah,
it was cool to see.
It was very cool to see, and I mean, it came off incredibly well. I mean, just the fact that they re-rendered those shots with that model for that FemShep trailer, and it worked just as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If not better. Now, do you play Mass Effect 3 with male Shep or Fem Shep?
I am playing male Shepard, default John Shepard, the model that you see on all the boxes.
That, what is he? He's not French.
Yeah, he's some sort of...
Dutch? Is he a Dutch model?
European country that primarily doesn't speak English.
Yeah. And then the guy who plays him is a voice actor. What's really funny is
he's Canadian, I believe.
Yeah, he's Canadian, and he's incredibly Jewish looking.
Oh, that's funny.
He looks like,
I wonder if anyone's made a Shepard that actually looks like him.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point. He looks like, do you watch Big Bang Theory?
No, I mean, I've seen
okay,
it, but I don't watch it.
You saw, Dr. Horrible sing-along blog? He looks like the guy who plays Moist.
I can't think of what he looks like, but I mean, I'm thinking of like a skinny-ish, Jewish-looking guy.
Jewish guy, kind of nerdy. Only he's the guy who plays him for Mass Effect. All the press he's been doing, he's rocking a leather jacket and doing the voice, basically. But yeah, he does not look like Commander Shepard at all. And what's really funny is that live-action trailer came out, and they purposely block his face for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it just came off as hilarious to me, because people on Raptor and during all the comments are like, why don't they just get the voice actor? He looks just like him. Not realizing two totally different people.
Yeah. Yes, the model, the voice actor, not the same guy.
Not the same guy. It's really weird how that works. It's hard to distinguish the two now.
Do you think the actual model, I don't think he does, but has that huge, no hair scar going on his head?
No, he doesn't have that.
Alright, they just came up with that for the game.
Yeah, that weird thing in his part.
It's huge in Mass Effect 3. It gets bigger with each game.
He's older, too. And
yeah, well, he's only 6 months older.
Is it only 6 months since Mass Effect 2?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not realize that.
Yeah, at times it seems like it should be longer, but they do actually say, it's been 6 months.
Wow. Yeah, it feels like it should have been another few years.
Yeah, it felt like it should have been probably 2 or 3 years.
Because in 6 months they completely retrofitted the Normandy.
Yeah, I mean, it did still look like a work in progress sort of thing, though.
It does. I really like that look too.
It looks cool. It looks almost more evil and ominous than it did.
You know what it is? It's the lighting.
Yeah,
in there.
It's really dark and red.
Yeah, it's
on the inside.
I spent some time one summer on a naval submarine.
And that's more similar.
And their CIC was incredibly dark and red.
Yeah, they can't be wasting power on bright lights.
And it was a diesel submarine. It was a World War II boat, but the lighting was dark and red. Yeah. And cramped. And I get that feeling playing that game.
Yeah, it does look very cool.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed, I'm trying not to be spoilery, but the relationships in my playthrough, seem far less important.
Just in general with your other characters, or like your love interest?
Everything, all around, seems far more scripted.
It kind of does. I mean, a lot of the times when you go to talk to someone in Mass Effect 3, it'll just be, you know, it won't even bring up a dialogue wheel.
Yeah, and not only that, you'll have a conversation, but it won't go into a cutscene version of the conversation.
Oh, like you can still run around and stuff, you mean?
Yeah, you're like in the... You know how in Mass Effect 2 the DLC characters would come in? And you can talk to them.
You would talk to them a little bit, but you wouldn't have any options.
You wouldn't have any options, but a conversation was happening.
Yeah, it does that. Yeah, it does that quite a bit in 3.
They adopted that, and I think it's because they really, like, the emphasis was on getting your team together, and the relationships were the key points in moving forward. Like, if you didn't form good relationships and bond with your crewmates, you weren't going to accomplish what you needed to in that last mission. And now, I think the writers are like, we want this to feel like you have free reign, you can go to all these different places, and you have that ability, but the story elements are incredibly scripted, incredibly precise, in order to lead you down incredibly emotional roads with certain characters coming in and out of the game.
And what's interesting is, I don't know how many missions this will be the case for, but in at least one that I've played, there are certain characters that you have to bring.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it could seem potentially annoying, but on the other hand, for storytelling abilities, it's kind of nice to have a character there that actually knows what they're doing. And, you know, so it's not just two random characters that don't say anything the whole mission. Like, I feel like the team talks a lot more in this game than they have in 1 or 2. Like, just while you're in the middle of a mission.
I think it's far more personal for all the characters. Like, have you run into Garrus yet?
Yeah, I've got him.
When Garrus is on your team, anything that involves his species, what are they, the Turians?
The Turians.
Anything that involves Turians and how they're going to come out in the end of it, if you bring Garrus on that mission, it's going to be incredibly interesting to hear his perspective on everything.
Yeah. And
the stuff he says is so well delivered. Whoever that voice actor is, he's great. But all his dialogue is so well delivered and so believable and poignant to what his story is and his people. And, you know, if you just brought any random character, you wouldn't be getting these really cool moments. And the fact they kind of push that by forcing you to take characters that are important to that mission is really good and actually smart.
I don't mind it.
Yeah,
if they forced 2 characters, it'd be annoying, but if they only force 1, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. The other thing is the combat is far better.
Oh yeah, it's insane, and just the level design in general, it's a lot more open. And I mean, I almost feel like I'm gonna miss something in every mission because there's just so much to explore comparatively to Mass Effect 2, and I mean, there are things to pick up everywhere. Yeah,
there's a lot of cool... The weapon upgrade system, we've talked about it before. You and I are loot addicts. We love loot drops. Definitely. Loot drops are like... It's manna from heaven. And while this game doesn't have loot drops, it does have stuff to find everywhere.
Yeah, it does have weapon upgrades and armor upgrades. And weapons.
Yeah.
Not as many weapons, but there are still quite a few weapons that you pick up.
I mean, there's a lot more variety in weapons. I mean, just in your assault rifles, you have plasma rifles, you have single shot, burst shot, full auto.
Yeah.
And then you have multiple levels of each gun. So you'll have, like, I'm firing a single shot rifle, but I have the 5th version of it, like the maxed version of it, and then I've got a barrel extension.
Is level 5 the max level?
Level 5 is the max level, yeah. And it costs about 25 grand to get there with some of them, because you have to buy the next level.
It starts at what, like 3,000 or 4,000, and then it goes up like 1.
It goes up like 1,000 every time.
Yeah.
So, by the last
really
one.
Not that bad. I mean, 25,000 credits is not that much.
Well, you're not going to buy every rifle. You know what I mean?
But I mean, if it's a weapon you use a lot, it's well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, this thing, I love this gun I have. It is just, I wish I had it up. I don't want to bring it up because it would just go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The gun I'm using is so cool, and the customization on it, the fact that I can put a barrel extender on it, and then put a scope on it, so I'm playing it like a sniper rifle, but...
Yeah, I have, on my SMG, I've got a sniper scope.
That's ridiculous.
It doesn't zoom in that much, but
yeah.
It's a little bit different from just aiming down the sights.
I had a Shuriken, which is that overly aggressive, like super inaccurate SMG.
Yeah.
And I had a scope on it.
It was the most pointless thing ever.
It was the most pointless fucking thing ever. But I do like that I can customize all my weapons and play how I want.
Yeah, it's really cool, and even like reducing the weight, which is nice for your cooldowns. Yeah, that's a cool mechanic. The fact that it's not just timed. Normally, it's if you're carrying what would be like 100 pounds of guns. Yeah. And ammo, your cooldown would be slower. That's a cool mechanic. So I carry way under what normal would be. My cooldown's nearly plus 200%. Yeah, it's super fast. So now I'm doing, because we're both playing Vanguard. Yes. So I'm swooping in with my biotic charge, and then I'm doing the Nova to anything around. I find Nova against the husks is very useful. It's useful against everything in the when I'm playing. And I've also that hold down melee attack thing, the Omni Blade. Yeah. Weapon of the year. I'm putting it out there right now. It's pretty great. The I guess technically for us it's some sort of biotic thing. Yeah. And then the Omni Blade one looks way cooler though. I will say that. Yeah, but the fact that it's this cool melee attack, and they have melee attachments. If I go in with a shotgun, I've got a blade on my shotgun. Yeah, I have that. I don't actually use it. But oh, it's so sick. Use it. It is. Find a reason to use it. I actually find that I don't melee as much in this game as I did in Mass Effect 2. Oh, I'm getting way up close and personal. It has been nasty. I mean, I get up close a lot, but I mainly get up close to blow people's heads off with a shotgun. Yeah. I can see that. I found that in Mass Effect 2, your punch was the strongest thing in the game, and they definitely have toned that back for this game. They did, but it's also if you hold down on that melee attack, it is devastating. The hold down melee is like the equivalent of a regular punch in Mass Effect 2. Yeah. I mean, it's like a Tyson roundhouse. You're gonna. A lot of times things disintegrate. You punch them so hard. Yeah. So that's it's been pretty impressive. But yeah, I'm loving the game so far. I didn't know what to think at first because so many things are so different. Well, it starts off really so linear. Strangely. It's super linear. And what I found weird was it doesn't take a lot of your choices from past games into effect at all. It might later. Like for me, Anderson should have been a counselor. Nope. He's just... Oh, shit, really? And there's no... And Udina's the counselor. I tried to ask him, like, hey, how come you guys switched? No options to ask about that. That's... Maybe it's a book. It's a codex or something? Maybe it's a codex, maybe it's a piece of fiction, because they've written quite a few novels now. Maybe, but I just found it weird, because it was like, that happening, and then just a few other options where it's like, yeah, you did this in the last game, and I was like, no, I didn't. Wow. Okay, they need to fix some things then. I'm playing... I didn't get a chance to finish out my Mass Effect 2 perfect PC finish. But I wanted to jump into 3, and I wanted to see what it would do. I was curious more than anything. So, like, Rex is dead in mine. I guess in mine, I don't know what it took into account to make Udina a counselor or not. I will tell you... I think the default choice for, if you're just starting a new game from scratch, is Udina is the counselor. I think that a few things are randomized. Right.
I honestly, I don't want to spoil anything. I can't see the game being what it is at where I am about 10 hours in without Udina being the counselor.
Interesting.
There is a story mission involving him, and it could not be Anderson in his place. And it is pivotal to the game.
It seems like it's impossible for Anderson to be a counselor.
No, I mean, they wrote something. I think they made a judgment point where they wrote something early, like, they scripted an event. I'm being super fucking vague here. They scripted an event where they said...
Because I don't even know what you're talking about.
Udina has to be the counselor because he's going to do something that is going to shift how the entire game goes and how you perceive a lot of characters.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get there, it couldn't be Anderson. And it would change the whole game. It would almost be as big as, you know how The Witcher has 2 different halves?
Yeah. Where
it would be that fucking drastically different.
Yeah, I mean, and I would have loved to have actually seen something that was totally different like that. But, I mean, clearly with this big of a game, they're not wanting to make content that everyone's not going to play.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, the more I'm playing, it's like certain characters aren't coming into my game, and I'm thinking, you hired how many voice actors? And so many of them are from beloved characters, and I'm not going to hear them.
You're not even seeing them. Yeah.
There's a chance you won't hear Rex or Garrus or Morden or any of these characters that have survived that you love as a character. I have no idea if Thane shows up. You're talking about missions with Jack. I haven't seen Jack.
This is not really a spoiler. I mean, I guess it could be considered a spoiler, but I'm not actually taking it from my own playthrough. I saw an interview where they said essentially every one of your characters who is alive is in the game at some point.
So I think Jack is dead in mine. I really do. Because there was a mission where Jack should have been there. It would have been perfect and made sense for Jack as a character. Not there.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, and on mine, she was there, and pretty badass. Sadly, not a playable character, but oh well.
Okay. I like the new look, though. I went through the art book, because I got the collector's edition.
I was looking through the art book, and then I spoiled myself on a few things, and then I stopped looking at it.
I'm just going to say this. Edie?
Yes.
It spoiled me on Edie, too. Edie
it spoiled me on her, yeah.
Yeah, Edie's my favorite thing in the new game. By far. I don't want to spoil anything, but just what they did with Edie is fucking so good.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
It is a logical progression. Like, it's not totally unexpected, but at the same time, it's very cool.
It's cool because, I wasn't expecting it. It's welcome because other options are not present in the game as far as what they did with her and other characters. So it was a natural addition, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it made sense.
This will make sense once people are about 2 hours into the game.
Yeah, you really don't have to get too far.
Speaking of that 2 hour mark, that whole first 2 hours is super scripted.
Yeah, the first two. I mean, I guess it's really just 2 missions and then one sort of run around and find people kind of mission, but. Yeah, I mean, you have no choice, really, as to what you're going to do. Dialogue options, you still got those, but as far as picking where you want to go next.
Yeah, you don't get to the CIC of the Normandy and make captaining choices for a long time. You don't even change your weapons, none of that. You don't get to do anything.
Actually, you can change your weapons if you pick up...
in the battlefield, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's been interesting in that it's, like I've said, it's just super... linear, in that it's all driving to something.
Here's a question that I have. Since I started from importing my Mass Effect 1 and 2 saves, what level did you start off at?
Normal, just level 1.
No, level 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I started off at level 31.
Wait, what? Like, you had 31 levels of,
By the time I got to the second mission of the game, I had charge fully maxed, and like most of my abilities are at least halfway up.
Okay, that's different.
So what I think they do is, and clearly the difficulty like scales with your level, because if the guys that I'm fighting now, if I was fighting them at like level 10 instead of level 40, it would be impossible.
Oh wow, that's different. Yeah, I'm at like level 20 now.
I didn't even notice it all for the first mission because I was just like, oh, I'm probably back at level 1, and then I go to upgrade my characters, and it's like, you've got 40 points to spend, and it had already halfway leveled up like half of my things.
Wow, that's
so yeah. I always thought it would be cool if they did that, since in Mass Effect 1 you can go to level 60, and in Mass Effect 2 you're capped at 30.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Okay, well that's smart. I like that.
Yeah, so essentially as soon as I got off Earth, and Earth in the game is almost exactly the same as the demo.
Yeah.
There are a couple dialogue options that are slightly different.
I think they didn't...
They don't take the DLC from the past game into account in the demo.
That's one thing, dude. It's, my conversation with Liara, they're super frustrating. Because it's like, I know I have...
about the Shadow Broker?
It talks about the Shadow Broker, but it's as if I wasn't there, and it's like, I just played that.
Oh, like, okay. So since you didn't import it, it was like, yeah, I'm the Shadow Broker, but you didn't help me.
Yeah, yeah. You know, another thing is, I'm wondering if my character, because it made all these random options for me, ever had a relationship with Liara. Because, and this might sound like a spoiler, she's hanging out with Garrus a lot.
Interesting.
Like, you know, as weird as it can sound, it's like, my character, when I'm in the headspace of my version of Shepard, is, you know, I'm like, I want this relationship to progress with Liara.
Yeah.
And it feels very cold and very distant.
Yeah, and because it feels totally different for me, because in Mass Effect 1 and in the Shadow Broker, I romanced Liara, and then after that, I basically cheated on her with Miranda, which she brings up, and, you know, I was just like, oh yeah, I just wanted to bang her, but I'm done with that now. But yeah, but she's very, like, right from the beginning, there's like sexual tension between them.
Okay, yeah, that's not in mine. My gameplay is incredibly cold, and the thing is, I feel like I'm walking in on something. Because people, you know, normally when you're playing, like, you play Mass Effect 1 and 2, you go to rooms on the ship, and people are there. And that's their room, and they never fucking leave their room. Now in Mass Effect 3, they walk around the ship, and they have conversations with each other, and the ship feels, like, alive.
Oh, I still haven't seen them walk around, but I have seen them having conversations via the intercom.
Yeah, via the intercom. And she's talking to Garrus, and then I catch them having a drink, and when I come in on the conversation, they're just like, Shepard.
That's hilarious.
And now I'm kind of like, well, what the hell? They're going to have, like, a relationship. You know? And now I'm closed off, and that's a bummer.
Are you playing male or female?
I'm playing male Shep.
Okay.
Yeah, my female Shepard is with Thane.
Okay.
So, I'm wondering if Thane is dead, because he hasn't popped up in mine either. So...
Well, oh, yeah. And I mean, as I said... I don't... Yeah. Every character will show up at some point.
That's good. I mean, I want conclusion on that everyone.
Or, you know, there'll at least be mention of them and what they're up to, or if they're dead.
Wait,
or whatever,
including DLC or not DLC?
I don't think it's supposed to be DLC.
Okay, because Kasumi, I think we've both said Kasumi is awesome.
Yes. She is in the game, and it's a cool little mission.
In Mass Effect 2.
Oh. That I was talking about Mass Effect 3.
Okay,
so,
well, you know.
Slight spoilers, but, I mean, as I've said before, all the characters will show up at some point.
Okay, then I'm wondering if you didn't have Kasumi's mission...
Like, if you didn't have her DLCs...
Yeah, there's no reason for her to pop up.
Yeah, I guess not.
So, that's beneficial to you as a player.
What's really cool is, I've run into missions where characters I met in DLC who were just random characters show back up. And it's just a really cool, like, throwback to, like, oh, I saved you in this mission 2 games ago,
Yeah.
and now I'm seeing you again, and you're helping me out.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like stuff like that.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely, and I know you're planning on playing it again after you go through your first playthrough with your saves.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it will be the better experience playing it that way.
Yeah,
just because of all these characters and, like, everything you've done comes back.
And they all count for something. That's the other thing, is it's...
Have you run into that stupid reporter?
Yeah, and I didn't punch her in the face. Or are we talking about Diana Allers?
No, I'm talking about the one that you can punch in the face.
Yeah, no, I didn't punch her in the face. I was like, hey, go do things for us. Save
I won't
save
even
Earth.
say what I did, but it's funny.
Did you shoot her in the face?
That sadly was not an option, but that would have been even funnier.
She really is like this inside meme on Mass Effect.
There's actually quite a few things where they make reference to things that were either really stupid or really funny from past games, and it doesn't, it's kind of like like it takes you outside of the game a little bit because it's pretty meta, but it works in that it's funny enough that you don't care.
I think they got their first taste for that in Mass Effect 2, the Shadow Broker DLC, where
they're talking about the
Omnigel.
The Omnigel.
Yeah, that joke always makes me laugh when I play that mission.
Yeah, it's great.
Because what was Omnigel? You slap a gel on a computer and you get in? What? How does this is the dumbest thing ever? Yeah, I'm glad there's no hacking or puzzles or any of that shit.
Yeah, it is nice. In this game, it's like, you hack this door, which means stand there for 3 seconds while it opens.
Basically, yeah. And I'm also liking that on a few missions you need to get into a conduit, like a lockbox, and you shoot the latch to open.
Oh, okay, you shoot it open.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, they've done a lot.
I mean, this game definitely. I mean, Mass Effect 2 was headed in the steps of just being a flat-out incredible shooter, and I mean, it was pretty great.
Yeah.
But not really up to like Gears of War level. I think Mass Effect 3. Maybe not up there with Gears of War 3, but it's up there with like the best third-person shooters out there.
It's really solid. Yeah, I like it a lot.
The only thing that tends to annoy me are on some missions, and they did this a lot in Dragon Age 2 also. Like, you'll clear out a room of guys, and then 30 more guys will just drop in from the ceiling.
Yeah. It's those jetpacks,
like you're just fighting waves and waves of guys. And luckily it doesn't happen too much, but there's one mission in particular that was one of the last ones that I played that just pissed me off because it was like 10 guys dropping turrets everywhere, and it was just ridiculous.
That would have been... There's a mission where you go to Grissom Academy, which I've heard of.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one
that I'm talking about.
Did you get in the mech?
Oh, I did. Yeah, the end's awesome.
Yeah. Before that, though, it is just turret after turret, and the turret is the worst thing in the game.
Yeah, the turrets are a huge pain in the ass. Anytime I see one of those combat engineers, I just head straight for him to kill him. Yeah, and sometimes I'm just too late, and now I'm next to a turret that's shooting me 100 rounds a second. It's never good, because even if you charge into a turret, you get your shields back, like, if a turret is shooting right at you at point blank range, your shields are down in half a second.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, and the I don't know what you call it, the regression of health in Mass Effect 3 to where your health doesn't regenerate. I mean, overall, I actually like it because it makes the game a little bit tougher. But at the same time, when you're fighting turrets, you're reminded how much tougher the game can be.
Yeah, but then I map my attacks and my special abilities, and I always have Metagel at number 3.
Yeah,
I need it constantly.
Like number 8, and I try not to use it as much as possible because I like getting the extra experience. Mm-hmm. But I mean, at the same time, you have to use it.
You gotta use it. It's better than dying or losing a crew member when you need them the most.
Yeah, and have you noticed, though, that you can run up to your crew members and revive them?
No, I haven't gotten the chance to do that yet.
I really like that because, like, a lot of times if just one person will die, I don't have to waste a Metagel, and you can just run over and do the standard Gears of War revive.
Okay, that's cool. That's smart.
Yeah, just...
Oh, like in multiplayer, because we had to do that in multiplayer.
Exactly,
okay,
multiplayer.
Cool. Yeah, which we are going to play later tonight, because that's another cool element of the game that multiplayer directly affects how well you'll succeed in the finale of Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, I'm pretty sure just in single player you can get to where you're at like 100% effectiveness. But if you don't, if you haven't played all the old DLC, you haven't met all these characters that can help you out and stuff like that, then multiplayer can help you get to that point.
Yeah, and you got to do a lot of little side missions and stuff, and if you do all those, you can get to where you need to be.
Yeah, at any point in time, I usually have about 20 active missions, and most of those just being like, go to a planet, scan it, grab something, and bring it back.
Dude, they made that really interesting now that it's not scanning every planet for resources, thank God.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, now it's scanning like 1 or 2 planets per system, and there's a little mini game, like almost action-y mini game inside of that.
Yeah, because the Reapers can come after you, and it kind of feels like, it reminds me of playing Pac-Man Championship Edition, where the ghosts are really smart and they're faster than you.
Yes, and the longer you move around, the faster they get.
Yeah, they like speed up as they go. And sometimes they'll, one thing I don't like about playing on PC is
the fact that you have to use the mouse
instead
of a joystick.
I hate that, because in order to go to a planet, I have to use the mouse to drive to it, and then I have to click on enter orbit.
Yeah, so you can't just like move over with your left hand and then hit A.
Yeah.
You have to like move the mouse down, and you kind of wastes like half a second.
Yeah, and if you're drifting, that's the other thing, is there's so much drift from the thrusters that sometimes you'll overshoot it when you move your mouse off.
Yeah.
And now I go to click something that's not there, and oh, they got me.
Yep.
And that's been frustrating.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Those parts are far better with the controller.
Yeah,
but overall, I mean, compared to Mass Effect 2, in which, as we all know, the scanning was god-awful, like the worst part of the game.
And it became a necessary part of the campaign. That's like the worst part of it.
Yeah, and in Mass Effect 3, you don't have to do that at all if you don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool kind of going and exploring and finding, wreckage and all these little extra things that add to your battle readiness. Sometimes you just find a battle cruiser, and it adds to your readiness.
Yeah, it's cool. And I like that you find fuel a lot, too, so you don't have to constantly refuel as much.
At least I don't have to buy probes.
Yes, not having to buy probes is very nice.
Yeah, it's been nice.
And the fact that you only have to shoot 1 probe per planet.
Yeah. I mean, you can shoot more.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, it's not going to do you any good. But yes.
And then, trying to think what else. It's just like, I'm not done. I don't have my full idea of what the game is yet, And it's like,
I mean, I'm only about 8.5 hours into the game, and I've done like as many side quests as I possibly can.
You're trying to stretch it out.
I'm really not even that far into the actual story. Like whenever I have and I do like this, they organize your missions by like priority, so you know which ones are going to advance the plot.
Well, you can also you can put them by priority, or you can see which ones are oldest.
Yes.
And
but I mean the plot ones actually say like priority on the actual.
Yeah, which is nice. I also like that. Oh crap! What's her name from Afterlife? The club.
Oh yeah, the Asari.
The Asari, she's back. I like that a lot, and I like her missions a lot. They're really cool.
Yeah, I like all of the characters that they've brought back. I think they've actually done a pretty good job of, I remember when we were talking about Mass Effect 2, and I was like, talking about how annoyed I would be if you couldn't play as all these characters, and you can't play as most of them.
Not annoyed.
they did manage to work them in a way that it's not annoying.
Yeah, it's interesting and it's smart, and it's like not everyone is going to be at a point in their life where they want to be a crew member on your ship. People, you know, they've moved on, and some of them are important to their species.
Yeah, I mean, you talk to some characters, and most of the time you can say, like, hey, join me, and sometimes they're just like, no, I don't want to, I can't, you know, I'm doing this, I can't join you this time.
Yeah, but it's cool that, you know, they have that the character is there and they are doing something smart and intelligent for the story.
Yeah, they're not just, it's not just like, hey, they didn't want to spend enough time on me, so I'm not in the game.
Yeah.
It's, like, they actually came up with a pretty good reason for them not to be there.
Like, if you've got Rex, as a, you know, if he's still alive,
yes,
he doesn't join your crew. But he's so important in what he's doing that it makes sense that he's not just like, hey, I'm gonna, you know, especially after Mass Effect 2. If he's alive in Mass Effect 2, he's leading his people.
Right.
You know,
so if he just abandons his people and comes to join your crew, it would be a little weird.
It would make no sense for him as a character, because Krogan are all about power struggle. And
so if Rex is dead, do you just have that other Krogan who was in 2?
Reeve, or not Reeve, is the guy, and it's not
it's not Worf.
It's not Grunt.
Oh, it's not Grunt.
It's not Grunt. And Worf, Worf played
Worf was the guy who's annoyed about Grunt, and you kill him in 2.
Yeah, it's not him. It's the guy who's up on the throne. He's still an Urdnot. He's Rex's. He's in Rex's lineage.
Okay. So he's probably a character that I actually never saw, since Rex was never dead in any of my playthroughs.
If Rex is dead, if you blow Rex's head off, which would be hard to do because their heads are gigantic.
They have big heads, yeah.
But if you kill Rex, in that same throne position on Tachanka, someone else in his family line has taken up that position, and that guy comes with you. And he's a distinct character. He's not Rex. He doesn't, you know, having played the demo where
you see Rex.
Where you see Rex, he takes Rex's spot, but he doesn't act like Rex.
That's nice. So it's not like Ashley and Kaidan from Mass Effect 2 where they're the exact same character.
It's not like that at all. They're distinct, you know? And they have different reasons. They both have the same goal because the story goes along those lines. They have different reasons for it.
Yeah.
And it's obvious. Like, once you hear their dialogue, that they're two totally different people. And I liked it. I appreciated that they put that much thought into it, that you can have two people with a similar cause that would react differently. I don't know. There's a lot of political stuff, because, you know, if you want me to be frank about Mass Effect 3, it is questing to do favors for people. That's the whole fucking game.
Yeah, well, much like all the Mass Effect games.
Yeah, but it's favors now for giant political powerhouses. And I don't know if their political motivations would be the same in certain scenes where you're talking to a Primarch from the Turians, if he would react to Rex the same way as he does to Reeve, because they would have different political motivations.
Probably not, yeah.
You know, and I don't even want to think about what the game would be like if Morden wasn't in it now, because Morden is in my playthrough. And
he is in yours?
He's in my playthrough, and if he wasn't, I would be annoyed. I don't really mind Rex so much, because I shot Rex in the face in a previous playthrough, and I know who Reeve is.
Okay.
So I don't mind him being there, especially because I like Grunt more than Rex.
Have you seen Grunt yet?
I haven't seen Grunt, so I don't know. I don't know if Grunt would take Reeve's place. I doubt he would.
Probably not, because I mean, he just doesn't really seem like that kind of character.
Yeah, he doesn't seem politically motivated.
I'm sure he'll show up at some point, though.
Probably. Maybe not in my playthrough, because I don't know who's dead, who's alive. It doesn't tell me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm actually really curious myself, too. After I beat the game, I want to just get the worst possible playthrough of Mass Effect and play where everyone that could possibly die is dead.
Yeah.
Except for Shepard.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because I don't, you know, if You have no say in the matter after.
How funny would it be if you could import a playthrough where Shepard was dead, and then you're just playing as some other guy?
That would be kind of funny, but I mean, Shepard is super
They'll just call
important.
you someone else. They're just like, yeah, well, you need to record all these lines with Shepard and with George.
That would be funny. Did you play the From Ashes DLC?
I played at least part of it. I don't know what the entire DLC entails, but I did.
It's just getting the Pro Team crew member.
Oh, that's the entire DLC.
And then clothing for all your characters.
Okay, yeah, I did play that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that level layout a lot. It's super action packed.
Yeah, and that's one of the levels where I was first like, wow, you can really go a lot of different places.
Yeah, there's verticality to it because you can go up on the roofs.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot more of that since you can now go up ladders.
Yeah, and jump across ravines and stuff.
I may have said this before, but I love how when you go down a ladder, it doesn't flip the angle. Yeah,
that would be annoying if I had to turn around every time I came off the ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it doesn't do that too. But yeah, we're already 45 minutes into our show, and all we've been talking about is Mass Effect. And there's a few things I wanted to bring up this week. One of them was Street Fighter Cross Tekken is finally out.
Yes.
And I'm working on my video review, capturing footage. And Shinjay, who's in the chat room right now, is going to help me with capturing some online gameplay of it. That game is a lot of fun, man. I am like...
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a really cool game.
It is.
I mean, obviously, I'm terrible at fighters and I can't play them at all, but it's still... It's a game that I can watch and be like, this is very cool.
It has this pick-up-and-play feel that I think Street Fighter 4 started with. Like, Street Fighter 4 has this, like, oh, it feels kind of old-school feel. Like, Street Fighter 3 is so super fucking technical that people who love 2 will not play 3. And the fact that when 3 came out, it had no familiar faces originally, and they had to put them in with each additional version of it. They had to put in more familiar faces.
So what about like Street Fighter 3 Alpha, whatever, blah blah blah?
Well, yeah, Street Fighter Alpha is another branch. That's prequels.
So the Alpha games are totally even separate.
That's another franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think I ever even played 3 then.
A lot of people haven't played 3. Like, first of all, it didn't get widespread. It wasn't in every arcade, and it was at a time, it came out, late 90s, when the arcade scene was starting to diminish. And 3D fighters were also getting more popular. You had your you had your Tekkens and your Virtua Fighters and Soul Calibers are all coming out around the same time. So who wants to go back to the pixel-based sprite fighter? A lot of people saw it as like not progressing far enough, but it was incredibly technical and daunting. And then Street Fighter 4 wanted to be more pick up and play favorable, where everyone feels like they can play. Like I feel like I can hold my own against most normal Street Fighter players, like just average gamers.
Yeah.
And then I play 3. I can't beat the computer in 3. It is such a technical game that I don't know what I'm doing. But 4, again, with 4, I feel like I know what I'm doing and I can get it. And now with Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I feel like they pushed it to be even more like easy to pick up, hard to master. Like, it has a lot of these really cool mechanics, these combo mechanics that are incredibly simple to remember and pull off, and then chain together attacks because it has a tag system where you can pull in a character, and the ability to pull in a second character and chain in attacks and everything is really, really intuitive and really easy to pick up and a lot of fun. And
what do you think the percentage of people who are playing that now versus people who will also play Tekken Cross Street Fighter?
I think Tekken Cross Street Fighter will be successful,
but not nearly as much, though.
I think it'll be less successful, because
I mean, I get that feeling too.
I know far less Tekken players than I know Street Fighter players. Even in the fighting game community, people I know, it's like, I know a ton of people who play Street Fighter professionally. A lot of them pick up Tekken, they don't know what they're doing. You know? I think Tekken is just, it's a totally different style of game, and I don't think Tekken has evolved all that much. You know, it kind of feels rooted in how it started. It just gets prettier, and it has a few different, you know, and I might be wrong, but I don't feel like Tekken has progressed or changed itself all that much, other than altering tag mechanics into the game. But I could be wrong. It's just how I feel. It's how I perceive the game. So
yeah.
But yeah, I have a feeling Tekken Cross Street Fighter will be less successful financially. I mean, I still think it'll be a success, just not as much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will pick it up, but it just doesn't seem like the interest. You know, I know it's farther off into the future too, but it just, in general, doesn't seem like there's that much buzz going for Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
Well, the thing is, like, how long is this system's life cycle still?
Yeah.
And can you put it out before these systems are done? But far enough away from the current Cross game that it doesn't feel rushed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's in a really bad time slot. It's going to be coming out at, either it's going to have to be on the next system, or they're going to have to put a box set out that's on the next system. I just don't know.
It could very well come out on Xbox and PS3 when the next system is already out.
Yeah. That's what's weird. Like, there are those few games that are just late to cross over.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah. Anyway, I dig it though. I think it's a lot of fun. It's easily accessible. I'll probably pick it up for my Vita, PlayStation Vita.
Yeah, if a demo ever hits the Vita, which it probably won't, I will definitely play it.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I might just go download it on the Vita today. I don't know. I have too much shit to play. It's like, I gotta finish Mass Effect, I gotta play more online on Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and then I want to play that XBLA game that comes out tomorrow in the, where is it? Let me just go to the home page. Does it tell me what it is? Hot new games for Windows phones. Games. Flight came out for PC. You should probably pick that up. Oh, NextWeeze? NextWeeze? Or is that already out?
I don't know.
How do you say that? NextWeeze.
I also do not know.
NextWeeze. By THQ.
NextWeeze.
NextWeeze. NextWeeze. It's a terrible name for a game. What were they thinking?
They were thinking, let's put out a game so no one will buy it.
But yeah, other things that are going on in gaming news. There's this incident that happened. Do you know about the whole Cross Assault incident that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I heard about it, and then I was like, what's this? And I watched a video, and then I was like, this is really boring, and I stopped watching.
You didn't fast forward?
Well, I clicked into the middle, and then I was like, yeah, it just sounds like a bunch of douchebags.
Exactly. It was a bunch of fucking douchebags, and I'm sure Shinji has an opinion on this. Basically, so IGN and Team Spooky and iPlayWinner and Capcom and a bunch of other people put on this event where some Tekken players are going to play some Street Fighter players at Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and it's going to be a game show, it's going to be online. Winner pulls in 25 grand, right?
Okay.
The thing is, the coach of the Tekken team sexually harasses his female pupil, essentially, for forever. It just goes on, and it doesn't end on the first day. And I don't know enough about the situation to have a real opinion on it, but I gotta say, it paints gamers in a bad light. and I'm really tired of how gamers are perceived in popular culture, and the fact that websites like Fat, Ugly, or Slutty have to exist. And when IGN does a poll, it turns out 33% of everyone who was in this poll doesn't play online games because of how players act. And how gamers treat other gamers. And I'm getting super annoyed with how far it keeps going all the time, basically, right?
Yeah.
That, like, I won't get on Call of Duty because a 12-year-old, you know, not even a 12-year-old, like, I can say that stereotypically a 12-year-old's going to call me a fag because I'm not the best player, you know. But other people, too, they'll just be like, oh, you're a fag. You know, that's like the first reaction, or, oh, you know, you really suck, and there's all this trash talking, and then the moment a girl gets on, it turns into sexual harassment, and some people are writing it off as, oh, that's part of gaming culture. And I don't really think it needs to be. You know, especially when you go to something like PAX, and PAX is this place where it feels all-encompassing, like all the gamers are really chill with each other.
Yeah, well, at PAX, that's people actually being in contact with each other in real life.
Yeah. But, I mean, but also that PAX community, you go into the PAX message boards, and it stays friendly.
That's true. Although it could be because those people are like, I'm going to see all these people. I can't be a total douchebag to people that I'm actually going to meet.
I don't know, because I've been a part of message boards before, based around a community with a singular purpose, whether it's a radio show I'm into, or, you know, like just whatever it might be, and people, you meet them and they're dicks. Like, there's Spill.com, you know, I'm on there, and people are assholes, and then I meet them, and, you know, they act like they never said anything shitty to you. Ever. And
see, all I get from Spill.com is the occasional, like, the random porn spam.
Really? Are you actually a member on there?
I guess so, because every once in a while I get an email that's just like Spill, like, porn spam.
Yeah, they have spam bot problems, but I mean, it's my point is, I'm just generally sick of how gamers treat each other, and how so many gamers seem to be bigoted assholes.
Yeah.
And especially, like, okay, so this video breaks out about Mass Effect, and it's the fact that you had two previous games where you could have straight relationships and lesbian relationships, there's no problem. Right?
Yes.
Now, for the first time, Shepard, as a man, can fall in love with and sleep with a man, or just sleep with him. Like, that's the other thing. You could be an asshole about it and just be gay and an asshole.
Yeah.
But the fact that those are options, on Metacritic, you have people going, oh, this is a total piece of fucking garbage, forcing homosexual relationships on people, and then the writers are getting death threats. You know? And then one of the writers at BioWare, this woman gets on Twitter, and within her first 10 posts, she basically says, how do I leave Twitter? Because people are such homophobic assholes and treat everyone like shit, and I'm so annoyed with it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm embarrassed to be like, yeah, I'm a gamer, because everyone's public perception of what gamers are is homophobic assholes who live in their parents' basements, who, you know, have no concept of what it's like to be a normal human being. And
yeah, I mean, it's probably true for most. Not even most, but it's probably true for the most vocal of douchebags.
Yeah, because you never hear about the guy who is just really nice playing Call of Duty.
Well, yeah, because
there's no website that says this gamer was great and treated a woman with respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that website. You have fatuglyerslutty.com, where it's just dozens of pages of women being sexually harassed by men at the drop of a hat just for playing a video game.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm generally sick of. So I would ask the 4 people who are watching, and a couple hundred who listen, apparently, just don't be a dick. Like, can we try and turn this around even a little bit?
It's a good rule.
I think so. I mean, it's Wheaton's Law, and it was founded at PAX.
Just go read the message boards on IGN, and don't be like that.
Don't be like that. And don't think you're being interesting if you say you can't spell ignorant without IGN, because you weren't the first person to come up with that.
That's at least 10 years old, I feel like.
Yeah, I was living at my parents' house when I heard that for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, I had a PlayStation 2 when I heard that for the first time.
It's pretty old.
It's pretty old. So let's stop with that. Let's stop being douchebags. And just be generally nice to people online. Because I want to like gamers, but I find it so hard. I find it so hard to like gamers on a regular basis. They just make it exceedingly difficult every day. So yeah, that's my rant. I just, after hearing that people got death threats for writing a video game where someone can be gay.
Well, and did you hear about, there was that other BioWare woman who had said something about games like 5 years ago, and apparently people got pissed about it?
What did she say?
She was like one of their writers, and I think she maybe started on like Dragon Age 1, and was saying, like, it was an interview, and they said, "What's your least favorite thing about gaming?" And she said, "Playing a game."
This is the same woman.
Oh, okay.
This is the same woman who said that. It's Jennifer Hepler.
Yeah, because I saw that and I was like, "What's this all about?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. Who cares?"
Yeah,
you're a writer for a video game. Why would you have to play games?
To be fair, her point wasn't.
Her point was, and it's essentially what they've kind of done with Mass Effect 3, even,
and it works.
Which is, if you want the story, you put it on super easy mode, where it just focuses on the story.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do that, don't use that option.
Yeah, and it works. I'm not going to act like that doesn't work. And I'm not going to act like I'm not going to play that when I just want to go through the story 2 years from now and I don't want to put the full investment in the game. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I will say I will never play it because it's so easy. Because I did try it in the demo.
I tried it in the demo too. Like the live stream version of the demo I put out.
It's like retardedly easy.
Yeah,
but I mean, at the same point, if you're the type of person that you pick up a controller and it's like 10 minutes before you know how to walk, that's the mode you want to play.
Yeah. I not to be sexist, I think a lot of girls don't get into gaming. I think a lot of people don't get into gaming, actually, in general, because it's, they see the story, and they want to enjoy that story, but there is that hurdle to overcome. It can seem daunting to jump into gaming now, after not playing for so long.
Yeah.
It can be daunting. You pick up that controller, how many buttons are on that thing? The dual analog stick is still confusing to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people...
I mean, anyone that hasn't played a lot of, post and including PS2 games, like, really doesn't know what to do with a dual analog controller.
I think I know a lot of people who do retro gaming because they see that controller and they go, oh, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like Thomas was that way for a long time. Who we went to PAX with, Thomas was like, this controller's ridiculous. Give me 2 buttons and a D-pad.
Yeah.
You know? And I can see his point. Like, I can't hand my dad an Xbox controller and expect him to be like, oh, I get it. You know?
Yeah, that's true. You could never give, like 99% of, like, old people, you can't hand them an Xbox controller and expect them to actually play a game.
Like, there's that video of that grandpa playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
And he sucks. Or is it a grandmother? And she was swearing a lot. It was a grandmother.
I think it was a woman.
Yeah, and she was just swearing a ton, but she was having fun. But it was clear that there was a hurdle to overcome. That was the controller.
Yeah.
And the mechanics of the game. But you could tell that lady was genuinely invested because of everything else that surrounds the game.
Yeah,
you know?
and I mean, on Skyrim, you can put it on super easy.
Yeah, you can. And then there's all that story to invest in. So I get that point of the interactive story more than the game that happens to have a good story.
Yeah.
And I think there's a place for that.
If you've ever played a Metal Gear game, you know that feeling.
That's, you know, I can't get into Metal Gear anymore, though, man.
I honestly can't either after 4.
Oh.
Because I love Metal Gear gameplay.
Yeah.
I hate Metal Gear stories.
I tried to play 3 on the live stream in the HD when I got it, and fuck no, dude. Just
I played the demo of 3 on 3DS, and this is me not having the second analog nub, and I was just like, this is terrible. I don't want to play this game without 2 analog sticks.
Well, that's one thing, but for me it was just like, I'm an hour in, and I'm still tutorial shit. I don't, you know, I got bored, man. I shouldn't get bored, and you can't skip anything.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, always let people skip your cutscenes.
Well, it's not just that I can't skip something. I know I'm going to miss something.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what, you don't play Metal Gear game. The Metal Gear gameplay, yeah, okay, it's great. But if I feel like I'm skipping a cutscene in a Metal Gear game, I feel like I missed some vital piece of information.
But then the thing is, after you finish the game, you're like, I wish I had skipped all those cutscenes.
That is true. You know?
Because you're like, I saw 10 hours of nothing.
And that made no sense.
Yeah.
Like, I dare...
Or Final Fantasy. You beat Metal Gear 4, and you get 2 hours of the most awful cutscene ever. That final cutscene in Metal Gear Solid 4 is horrendously awful. It's just like, it's boring, it's way too long, and it's
over the top in the worst way.
Satisfying ending to any game.
2 is worse.
2 is worse, but I think 4 just seems worse to me now. 1, because I played it more recently, and 2, because the rest of the game isn't quite that bad.
Yeah, and it had all that polish on it. Like,
yeah,
4 has...
those egg segments, pointless.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that CGI, the egg thing?
I don't even remember. I'm sure it was probably some sort of CG.
It might have been a blend.
Yeah. I'm sure it was pre-rendered, whatever it was.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of that is. That was the PS3's trick at the beginning. Was...
Yeah, it's like, we have Blu-ray discs, so we can show you videos that have no artifacts, so you'll think it's gameplay.
Yeah, basically, that's what it was. And it works in God of War 3.
Until you switch your costume.
Until you switch your costume. And then you realize, oh, shit! All of the shit that I thought was like, look what this system can do!
Yeah.
It can play a video!
Awesome. And see, I'm glad that so far there haven't been too many pre-rendered videos in Mass Effect 3.
There's so many in 2. There's
way too many in 2. And I feel like on 3, they look a little bit better. Like, they still look shittier than the game.
Why aren't they just artifact-less 1080p crispest video possible?
I mean, you have a special download where you have, like, 20... I would be fine with 20 gigs of videos if it meant I didn't have to see garbage-looking artifacts.
Yeah.
And, like, sub Xbox 360 quality on a PC game.
Yeah, it pulls me out of it every time.
Although,
excuse me.
What I will say, which is really nice about 3 versus 2, the loading times are so much faster.
So fast. It's like I'm going to a floor, and then it's like, oh, well, here's the loading
Less
thing.
than
and
1
then
second later, you're there.
And it wants to show me something, too.
I've seen a review on Amazon of people complaining about the Xbox version, and, you know, I haven't played that one yet. I have ordered it for Bridget, but it has not gotten here yet, so she's extremely annoyed that I'm playing it and she's not playing it. But I guess I'll find out whenever that does get here how long those load scenes are.
Well, I hope you have the hard drive space.
Oh yeah, to just install it.
Yeah,
I do. I have the like 250 gig hard.
Yeah, I do too. You know how many gigs I have free?
None.
7. And
well,
that's only because I deleted.
I go off and delete all the games that I don't play anymore, so I usually have a pretty decent amount of space.
That's the thing, is like I can't bring myself to delete games I've purchased. Like, yeah, I can't keep...
I have mostly physical games. Like, my Xbox Live games that I bought don't take up that much space, and I don't know if I bought any, like, retail games download.
I have, like, 15.
Yeah, so my Xbox hard drive is mostly, like, arcade games and demos and installs.
Yeah, I have a few installs. Reckoning is on there. I have to get rid of that because I'm never playing that game again. And I think anything else. I know I have Reckoning as an install in there, and then I have like Vanquish is a purchase on there.
You actually downloaded that.
Fable 3 is a purchase on there. I think I've got Rainbow Six Vegas 2 is an install on there. Bioshock is an install on there. And I didn't buy those either. That's the thing. My ex-roommate purchased them on his account, and they're installed on my hard drive still, and I can just play them.
Oh, since he bought them on your Xbox, you can still play them.
Yeah. And he can download them now too, but they'll still work on mine. His account,
as long as he doesn't go into his account and say, switch my primary Xbox, then you can play them.
I guess he's never done that.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times. I mean, the most recent being because I got my account hacked and someone else screwed it all up.
Yeah, and purchased what? What was it? FIFA shit?
Some FIFA garbage with my Xbox points.
You should just get FIFA now.
Yeah, it's still not worth it getting FIFA.
Well, I guess we're coming up on over an hour now. We have any questions from anyone in the chat room? If not, well, I guess we should just wrap this up.
Yes, and go play some Mass Effect 3.
Multiplayer. Any questions from the chat room? Any questions from the 3 of you in the chat room? I'm going to take that as a no. No questions. Let's get the fuck out of here. Go play some Mass Effect. And I guess with that, this has been the 72pins.com live on Twitch TV. I'd like to thank the 4 people who came and checked us out. You guys are awesome. Tell your friends next time, you lazy fuckers.
Feel free to stop by while we're recording and type them in and ask us. Yes.
And check out the 72pins.com. Like us on Facebook, follow our Twitter, and subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube.
And go play Mass Effect 3. The first 8 hours are really good.
I can vouch for this. First, let's find out on Raptor how long I've played, because now it tracks it like perfectly.
Yes.
The first Mass Effect 3. Come on, tell me how long I've played this game. This is taking way too long. Go faster. Go fast. That new website sucks so bad. 13 hours. The first 13 hours are really good. I can vouch for that. So
that means I've got 5 more hours of goodness, guaranteed goodness.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? It could start to suck really hard, but I doubt it. Somehow. But yeah, join it. Go ahead and join us online. We're going to be playing on PC, play some multiplayer. And with that, I'm going to hit stop.
The end.